So as Lewis Hamilton's unprecedented period of success with Mercedes was coming to an end, I was commissioned to create a tribute piece, which I chose to base upon his 2014 title victory, the first one that he won with Mercedes. Now, as model kits of contemporary F1 cars are rare or just non-existent, I chose to base this on this 143rd model, which I bought on eBay. Don't really like the display case, but thankfully the car actually comes apart really easily with just 3 screws on the main floor and 1 screw on the front suspension. Now next I used some Tamiya gunmetal to make the black plastic parts look more like carbon fibre. So I did that on all the exposed floor sections, around the diffuser and the front and rear suspension as well. I sanded down those front and rear tyres to make them look a little bit more used. Next I needed a driver, so I bought this one online. It was £4, £7 with delivery. It's made of white metal and it's moulded quite well. You can see with a sort of modern seatbelt harness there. It's got the 2 arms separate, one of them slightly raised, and a slightly open visor to sort of look like it's celebrating victory. Despite not having any feet, the figure was too big for the cockpit section. So firstly I used the Dremel to start removing those lower legs, but I found that this wasn't working very well, so I instead used this hacksaw. Sanded that away. It's quite nice soft metal, so not too difficult. I removed the seat from the car and slotted that underneath the steering wheel. Found that he still had a little bit of a tight fit. Testing that here. So I used some clippers made for metalwork to remove some of the parts around the knees and around the back of the figure, and it fitted much better. There we are. I think I'll struggle to add the arms though, but you can see the helmet there. That's pretty good in my opinion. So that was then primed and painted white. You can see on this car, a slightly later one, that the seatbelts should be blue. So I used some Revell satin blue for this. Decided not to bother with any of the decals on the race suit, as you won't see those anyway. But once I'd done all the belts, I then used this silver Posca paint pen to paint the buckles and straps. There we have it. That looks pretty good. Just checking, and that all fits really nicely. Found I didn't need to glue the driver in because the shape of it just kind of kept him stuck in place. Hamilton actually drove this car again fairly recently as a sort of leaving gift from Mercedes. Parts like the front and rear wing just clip on and off, so these can be removed really easily. However, when I'm finished, I'm going to glue them on just to make sure that they're nice and secure for when they are displayed. Now, to recreate his 2014 win at Abu Dhabi, I'm using these little paper flags. These are mainly used as like cake toppers, things like that. So firstly, I found it was a little bit off center, so I trimmed it around the edge and also removed it from the cocktail stick that it's attached to. Made sure that it's as symmetrical as possible, trimming around the edge to make sure that it's nice and straight, and comparing it to the size of the car. I then used some of this jeweler's wire. Tried to straighten this as best as possible by using this photo etch bender, and then used a small amount of superglue gel just to attach that to the flag. I left on a little bit more wire than was needed, and then I was able to trim that down to make sure it was the right length. Bit too long still. There we are, happy with that now. I trimmed down one of the arm pieces and painted it white as well, and then super glued that into the cockpit so that it could be used to either sort of raise in success, or you could hold the flag with that one there. There we are, checking how it looks with the driver's helmet as well. For the helmet decals, I used some homemade ones, captured bits of the logos and things like that from his 2014 helmet, and you can see my decal printing guide linked above here. I tried to limit the decals just to the most prominent ones, so the kind of red and black sections on the side, and then also the 44 and the Mercedes three-pointed star that goes on the top. I then added a little Petronas sun strip thing around the visor. Once those had cured, I gloss cleared it, also painted his face in the exposed section, and did the visor in a bit of chrome silver. F1 helmet designs are so complicated these days, so since this is quite a small model, it made sense just to limit it to the most prominent features. So now that the car and the driver are finished, I'll show you how I'm going to display it. Firstly, I'm going to use one of these Santa head frames. These are square box frames that you can get from IKEA. They're really good value. Then after priming the backboard, I used this SMS Premium tarmac paint. This has been ready thinned for airbrush use, and I painted that to create the road surface. I chose to use the mounting board as the car fit really well in the middle. So I then used my Dremel to drill the hole in the right place to screw the car onto the middle. However, I found that the car span around when held by just one screw, so I added 2 more holes after that and added this little mounting piece here, which comes in the display case. If you wanted to fix a car down, you might want to use something like sticky fixers, which I've used in the past as well. Those work very well. However, once I'd added that, it worked well, and here it is with the mounting board. And here it is tested with the flag, which I was able to put into the driver's hand. And there you see what it'll look like. Now I had this little plaque engraved, especially for this. And then I used my ruler to make sure that this was in exactly the central position of the mounting board at the bottom. Felt silver was the right colour to go for, considering he drove for the silver arrows. This is self-adhesive, so just peel that off the back. Don't push it down so hard, make sure that you've got the right position first. And then I use a little bit of super glue just to fix that flag into the driver's hand. Make sure it's nice and secure. Chose to do it just behind the car instead, so you can see most of it there. Flag's moved here, you can see, so I corrected that before adding the frame back on. And there we are, it's finished. Let me know what you think. I think this is a pretty dynamic way to display these 1/43 models, and hopefully it's a fitting tribute, especially considering it features the moment of Hamilton's first title win with Mercedes. As always, thanks so much for watching. You've been fantastic with your support of the channel this year, and hope you have a really pleasant Christmas. Thanks very much. I'll see you soon.